Hello and welcome to the Bobby Moore Stand. So I'm Gary, and you'll recognise this face with me. It's Paul Colburn from Hammers United. He's got a very important message, and so I'm just going to hand straight over to him. So Paul, go for it.
Yeah, hello, mate. I know. People have been asking me about the boycott um
Hmm.
against Brentford. So look, all my pals, all my lot, they're all boycotting. Um, there's just one sitting on the fence. I think he will boycott. But let's make something clear. If he doesn't boycott, we're not going to dig him out. We're not going to moan at him. Each to his own. And in the bigger picture, Hammers United won't be moaning at anybody or digging anybody out. If they go in. Couple of points on social media. I think I'd like to look at. I saw someone the other day said I can't boycott because it'll affect the team, and that's a matter of opinion. But we lost to Palace, we got thrashed by Tottenham, we got thrashed by Chelsea, and in fact, last season we got more points away from home than at home, and it's pretty obvious already that that'll happen again. What affects performances of the team is the quality of the squad. And in my view, we're not losing games because of our fans. We're losing games because the squad wasn't adequately strengthened in the summer. I'd also point out, Gary, that our best form in recent years was in COVID when there was no people there.
Yeah.
So I don't agree with that. Someone else. What's the point? What's the point that they've got our money?
Yeah.
Well, this protest, this boycott, is not about money. It's about showing the world a half-empty athletic stadium. It's about showing the mainstream press a half-empty athletic stadium,
Yeah.
so that they introspect West Ham, they introspect Sullivan and Brady, and they look into how badly they are running our club and how inefficient they are. Obviously, it will cost the club a little bit because, frankly, they're giving tickets away at crazy prices, so much so that you can have a loyal season ticket holder that's paid their money up front, and they could be sitting next to someone who's not a season ticket holder that's got a ticket for a third of the price, a third of the price.
Yeah.
And of course, they're giving the tickets kids for £1 as well, so it will cost them a bit. But largely, this protest, this boycott, is not about money. As for this, what's the point? That really bugs me. You know, years ago, we had the bond scheme that the club
Yeah.
brought in, and the West Ham fans, they stood proud, they stood together, they stood united, they showed some pride, and the club had to row back. So what the point was, the West Ham fans won that prize, that protest. And then more recently, you probably remember, the club promised that anyone who'd had a season ticket for 5 seasons, the sixth season, they'd get 20% off. And then
I
Sullivan
remember.
and Gold reneged on that. So what happened? The fans protested. They stood strong, they stood tall, they stood united, they protested. And what was the point? Yeah, the club had to row back. Last season, we had the concessions. You had the club attacking the concessions for our old, our disabled, and our young. The same young people, Gary, they're now offering tickets for £1 to fill the stadium up when we
I know.
boycott the game. They attacked their concessions. So again, the fans stood tall, we stood united, we stood proud, and we got the club to row back. So that, for goodness sake, is the point.
Yes.
Now, these protests, they will bother the club. They are bothering the club. And the big march against Burnley will bother them. The sit-in against Newcastle will bother them. But this boycott, this will bother them more, and it is bothering them more. We've seen them open up the ticket exchange early. We've seen them bombard people with phone calls, bombard people with emails, pleading with people to buy tickets. We've seen them reduce the prices hugely. We've seen kids for £1. So there's absolutely no doubt that this protest, this boycott, is really, really, really affecting them. Now, what will happen as a result of their measures is that there will be 5, 6, 7, 8, I don't know how many thousands of people that will be going to the game that if we'd been playing Brentford and it hadn't been a boycott, wouldn't have been because of the reduced prices and everything else. There'd be a lot more tourists than there would have been, day trippers, occasional fans. And look, good luck to some of them occasional fans, because the prices are so low. They probably can't usually afford to come. So fair play to them. I hope they have a good night. But a lot of these people, or certainly a lot of the tourists that will be there, they won't even know who Karen Brady is. They won't even know who David Sullivan is. And so it's down to the season ticket holders, and I know they will, season ticket holders, to come out, boycott the game in big numbers, and get that introspection of a half-empty stadium.
Yeah.
And when people decide whether or not to boycott, it's to each person to their own, and they've got to think things through. But if you're sitting there up in the gods every week, maybe remember the promise that the seats would be no further away than they were at Upton Park. When you're in the soulless bowl and you're seeing us get hammered, remember the promise of a world-class team in a world-class stadium. And when we see we've got Callum Wilson up front and some of the defenders and the lack of backup at centre half.
Yeah.
Look, if we don't get rid of these people, Gary, it's just going to be more of the same. It's going to go on and on and on. And we've just got to try. We've just got to try so hard to force these people out. And when we do force them out, we'll look back at different steps that were taken. And one of the steps that will lead to it, in my opinion, is this boycott. Now, it could be a small step towards it. It could be a medium step towards it, or it could be a bloody great step towards it. And that really, guys, that depends on you season ticket holders watching. So please, it's one game. It's on the telly. You can watch it in the comfort of your home. You can go down the pub and watch it with your friends. It's one game in the grander scheme of things. It's not too much. So please, I'd ask our season ticket holders, seriously consider boycotting, and no more BS, no more Brady Sullivan, no more bullshit, and long live West Ham. Thanks a lot, Gary. Come on, you answer.